Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Mandela Effect story broadcast. My name is HR. I'm your host, and today we have Kiera Winters as our guest.
Hi.
And, and grab your drinks and let's get started. Kiera, if you'd like to make an opening statement.
Hi, I'm Kiera T. Winters. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and I have been a Mandela affected since 1987.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is. I didn't know what to call it, but that's what it is.
Okay. So in 1987, you say it started for you. Can you give us an idea of what that was like?
It was actually pretty scary. They were working on a McDonald's, and a truck went through the McDonald's, like plowed right through it, and they had to totally renovate it, and it was near the high school.
Right.
And once they renovated it, it had Mick, MC, no longer McDonald's, and only one other friend noticed. And I was like, why would they change it? That's weird because it was like old McDonald had a farm, Mac, MAC, and it was just like my mom's maiden name for the Mac. So I knew it, and I was like, well, that's kind of different that they decided to get rid of that when they have like their Big Mac and all that. And I kind of dismissed it as a logo change, like a lot of people do with Mandela effects. You kind of just think it's a company thing or whatever. And one other friend said, "Oh, it is pretty weird." And I notice a lot of people always use weird, like, "Oh, that's weird," and then they over their head leave it, dismiss it as like you
Right.
know. And I noticed a lot of strange things over the years. And I thought, once again, like many people, logo change. 7 Up, I saw the dash disappear, come
Right.
back, disappear, and be replaced with the little red circle. And once the red circle came in, it didn't change again for me. And I figured, okay, well, that's just a logo change because
Yeah.
you would not put into words that this could be quantum physics at its best. It could be CERN. It could be parallel shifting. It could be anything. Instead, you chalk it up to being like, okay, they changed the logo, and you leave it at that, right?
On, yeah.
And I noticed there was lots of things growing up, especially from 87 to 91. I noticed a lot of different things, landscapes changing overnight, and you kind of go, well, how did that happen? And if you say anything to anyone, you look crazy, right? You can't be like, well, that hill wasn't there the other day, and it's obvious that it's been there for a long time because of the way the grass was and everything. A
Right.
neighbor all of a sudden had a fence, but there was no construction. My parents changed a lot. I noticed everything from eye color to personalities changing. And my story is very long, so you may want to just ask questions here and there. But as for that, there was too much for me to dismiss, but
Right.
too much for me to say out loud because I was afraid that they would think I was crazy. I was already an outcast and a redhead with glasses, so I mean, I already had lots against me growing up. I didn't want to also say, "Hey, did you guys notice whatever changed?"
Yeah.
So I
Right.
kind of just kept it to myself and thought something is up. It did feel wrong. And I noticed celebrity deaths too. The guy from Jaws, Schneider, I saw his name switch back and forth
Yeah.
from Schneider, like Rob Schneider, to like Snyder. And
Mm.
that was weird. And I would notice movie quotes changing when I rewatch a movie when I was younger. And I thought I misremembered it. It was one of those. But then once we hit a certain age of internet and people were comparing memories, it
Right.
made me feel validated that one, I don't think I'm crazy, or we all are, and two, it was wonderful to connect with people that remembered, for instance, like Curious George having a tail because he did in my world, those type of things.
Yeah. I have a question. Now, when your parents started changing, did you think that it was something, metaphysical or
I
paranormal?
actually, believe it or not, this may sound like I'm being mean, but I thought they were losing their marbles. I really did. I grew up in a very hard household, and my
Okay.
mom was hard to live with. She was a tiny woman, but she was, you know, boisterous in words. And I remember I was sitting there making a mix cassette in my bedroom, and it was quite the craze of like everyone like New Kids on the Block and everything. And it was kind of like a thing between one of my friends that we always tried to catch a song at the beginning.
Right.
And I would have the cassette player ready to go, and I'd be sitting there ready to push play when I heard that the song was going to be next. And that was kind of my thing on weekends: finish homework, make mixtapes.
Right.
And my mom came storming into the bedroom and started yelling at me that all I did was always watch TV and how dare I. And it literally floored me because I wasn't a TV watcher, and I never watched TV, and she was so sure that I did and was in my face about it that it left me shaking, like, why is my mom so crazy saying that? But I have this weird feeling that another version of me was into TV or something, because I saw personalities and traits within family members change way too often, and it was way too solid of a change. My brother would shift so often, and I know that's what it is now, but back then I didn't know. I just thought he was schizophrenic or something. He literally would see his aura. I see auras. I'm an empath psychic, and I would see his aura just change, and it would change into almost like you could tell he was going to have a violent outburst. And until the internet, I did not know what any of this was, and I've seen it now in personal friends that have come and gone, that where their memories were totally different, yet we had the same classes, we studied the same JFK, 4 people in the car, and they're like, no, always been 6, you're crazy, what's wrong with you, don't drink the Kool-Aid, and they block me. So 100% I believe this is our consciousness shifting into a nearest avatar of ourselves, and that's why thumbs all of a sudden are different on us. And I think it's happening so many times per day, because a client walked by, I do personal training, and a client walked by and they had like a pretty script to their font on their shirt, and all of a sudden it changed to block letters, almost not much different than what I'm wearing right now in this t-shirt.
Wow.
And it shocked me so much that it floors you, and it still can affect me. There's some days where people will repeat something, and when they repeat, I often wonder, is it a parallel overlapping where I lived over here, and somehow my consciousness, CERN, whatever's causing our consciousness to jump, whether it is just a natural thing, occurrence, and the frequency changes, and boom, my frequency changed to lower, they're higher, so I shift over to where they're different to match up. But because we matched up in frequency, we're not matching up in memories, because it's totally different. And that seems to be what's going on for me. That's what's resonating with me, because I notice when certain people get really low and down, their memories all of a sudden don't match up. I'll do tests, like I'll ask them a certain thing about the week, or they will repeat something that we already discussed, and they have a good memory. So when they're discussing something 2 or 3 times in one day, the same thing, I can't help but to go, okay, sadly they shifted, is what I call it. I call them shifty shifters, because they shift so often and the memories aren't the same. And I have a very scary memory. I have to memorize lines for movies and stuff. So I'm the type of person on set where somebody doesn't remember their lines, they pretty much look at me, not even the person holding the script, because I know everybody's. Right. So that's what bothers me, is when I see in family members and friends, when they change, I feel a very sad low, because I know that they're gone. That version of that person I connected to and loved isn't there anymore. And it really bothers me. I've had people accuse me of things that I know I never did. Yeah. I ran the group with a guy, and out of the blue, he wrote me and was nasty and said, "You always steal my Mandela effects. Why do you always do this to me?" And I'm like, whoa, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? And what do you mean steal? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, you always steal my stuff and post it. I felt like he punched me in the face, because I'm like, no, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. And for him, he was dealing with a different version of me. Right. And I have proof of this. Here's my proof. I have about 25 people now that have come to me and said, I was Kiera with 2 R's. I've never been Kiera with 2 R's. It looks more like Kiera to me when I see it spelt out. Right. Yet, this is what scared the hell out of me, if I may say that word. Sure, around Christmas time, my aunt sent me a letter, and on the letter it was addressed to Kiera with 2 R's.
Wow.
Why would an aunt send that to me? And I thought, okay, well, she is in her 60s. Maybe something happened. And then she sent a care package for my daughter. And once again, she spelt it with 2 R's.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's yeah, it shocked me, but because it happened right at the same time that other people were saying this to me, and then a very close friend, very dear, I call her a soul sister.
Yeah.
She went in for kidney surgery, and when she came out of kidney surgery, she seemed different. And then she posted on my wall and she said, I see you changed spelling of your name, soul sister. She's
Wow.
not affected. She has no reason to lie.
Hmm.
So to me, we are dealing with alternate versions of ourselves. We must be infinite.
Well, it
So
could
I think,
explain a lot when people act irrationally towards you sometimes, and you have no idea why they're acting that way.
oh, I know. It's like it's almost like a violent outburst the way they talk, and it feels shocking because it's like I feel like a scolded child. I'm like, what are you mad about? What did I do? I didn't do it. It's
Right.
awful feeling. I hate it.
Yeah, you were talking about the McDonald's. Just backtracking a little bit, I've noticed that every time we shift, the dollar menu at my McDonald's changes. It'll disappear and then it reappears. And when it's missing, they don't really know much about the dollar menu. And then when it comes back, it's like normal again. It's weird, and it happens every single time. I've been down there a couple times, and I was like, "What? Why'd you take the dollar menu down? What dollar menu? Uh-oh.
And they're like, no, we never did.
Yeah, we never had one. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. Never had one. All right. See you
You
tomorrow."
know what I keep seeing for shifting? I see there's a subway in town,
Mhm.
and the subway changes so it has uh, the right now it's got on the Y and the S, it's got the little like arrows.
Yeah.
The arrow will disappear off the Y, and sometimes it's green and yellow writing, and other times it's like white and yellow,
Yeah.
and it changes. And there's no way they're running outside and changing their sign. And the
No.
weirdest thing in town, there's this there's this little area. I live in a small town, but there's this little area where there was a restaurant, and then they changed it from a restaurant to a bakery, and then they changed it to like a little pizza shop. And this was all happening overnight, and I was,
Wow.
what's going on? I was like, why are they reselling this place and leasing it out so quickly? That
Yeah.
and it's done. And I almost, now that I know more about what's going on, to me anyways, what resonates, went by it and now it's a tanning salon. So mark my words, I'm telling you now it's a tanning salon. Who knows what it'll be, a dog grooming place next week? I don't know, but there's 100% changes in landscapes,
Yeah.
and I I got to tell you something that definitely nailed it for me. My back stairwell that goes out from like the sunroom down,
Right.
it literally was pretty, and it was white, and it was almost like the white picket fence type idea because I live in a century home.
Yeah.
I came home from work 2 years ago, and I stopped dead in my tracks. My stairs were green,
What?
and they still are. I've been hoping they would change back because they're so ugly, but they're like a puke 70s green now. They look awful, and they were white. My daughter remembers them being white. Everybody has mixed feelings on what it was. My mom says I'm crazy.
Are
I
you?
had a huge argument with her. She remembers JFK 4 people. She remembers the Lindbergh baby. She
Yeah.
remembers the heart. She was a nurse.
Yeah.
She's retired. She's in her like almost 80, but she remembers the heart being over to the left more.
Hmm.
But when I told her about that and the kidneys, she said, "Well, who cares if it's changed? What can I do about it?"
Right.
And that is a very commonplace occurrence when I got shocked by knowing that the Mandela effect is real, and what I was seeing, I wasn't crazy, that other people have dealt with this, and I get a lot of either, oh, that's weird, dismiss, like Dolly's braces. Oh yeah, she had braces. Well, look at this. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. That's not shocking to you. And it's like, I don't think they're ready to accept or wake up to it. And their mind has almost like a blocker that says, this is too much, shut down, continue on, live about your life and watch the media. I I have a over 50-inch
Available.
screen TV. I won't watch TV.
No,
I watch YouTube. I won't watch TV anymore. It's a waste.
me either. I don't bother with the TV. I don't even own a TV now. I watch it on my computer if I want to watch something on YouTube or one of the others. Also, a weird thing happened to me. Me and my daughter went to Chick-fil-A one day to get lunch, and I looked up at the sign. I said, "Wow, I wonder why they spell it with a C and not a K."
Yeah, yes.
And I was looking at that, and I was like, "Wow, that's weird." So we got our food, and we went home. The next day, I remember coming off the expressway, and we pulled up to the red light, and I look over, and there's a Chick-fil-A truck, but it has a K on it now. And I went, "Hold it, that's not right." And my daughter goes, "No, Dad, it was C." And I said, "Well, let's go to the restaurant." We drove back down to the restaurant, and guess what? There was a K. And I asked them, "Did you change the sign?" "No, never change the sign." "Oh, okay. It's always been that way." "Oh, all right, good."
Yeah, it's always been. It's the same with the Staples across the street and the staple in it. And when I researched that and saw pictures from like 1986 with the staple, and I'm like, it did not have a staple because when I saw them change, well, to me, I thought they changed the logo. I thought it looks stupid.
Yeah, why would
I
they?
get why there's a staple, but it looked kind of silly to me.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's definitely a parallel change for me.
yeah. Well, it's always been that way here, where I came from.
I
And
noticed I noticed a huge influx. I got to tell you, this was really weird. In 2010, I noticed things like Vaseline changed to Vaseline,
yeah,
and it had always been with the O for me. And
sure.
I thought, oh, they changed their logo. That's rather an odd thing to change it to Vaseline. And I thought, oh, it's just the lotion I was buying. I was like, it's just their lotion, I guess. And
Yeah,
then I saw the actual petroleum jelly change to Vaseline. And then I was like, oh, well, that's weird they would bother changing it. Whenever I got on the internet about Mandela effects and I saw somebody discussing Vaseline, it kind of threw me. It kind of was like almost like the thinker. It was like, okay, this is real. This is happening. I have now seen Mandela die 3 times in my life. When I
right.
was in school, he died. He died in jail. I remember him dying around 91, and then 2013, I believe, was the last time he died. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true. And then I saw 3 thinkers now so far. I
Hmm.
saw the on the forehead. I saw the resting like this, and now he's like sucking like a baby on his knuckles, like he's really bored.
Yeah.
So I've seen 3.
Wow.
Um, the Mona Lisa I'm having a hard time with because with the Mona Lisa, they keep saying there were more than one copy. So I
Could
know that for me, when I studied it in school, she definitely had a very calm look on her where it wasn't quite sure if it was a smirk or if it was a light smile was about to form, and we had to discuss that. But now it's a distinct to me a little bit of a smirk. So I
yeah.
like to think that one could be a definite change. I'm still a little on the fence because there's so many versions of it. And oh my goodness, Courtney Cox and Jim Carrey, both their names changed at the same time for me.
Yep.
Now it's like Court 10 knee, and I'm like, it's longer and looks weird. Jim Carrey, father actually worked with Jim Carrey's dad, and it was 100% 1R for me,
Yep.
like 1,000,000%. Like I'd bet my dog's life on it. That's how sure I am. Like it was 1R for a fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I started. For you, was it 1R?
One R. Yeah, always.
Yeah, it looks weird with two
Yes,
R's.
it does.
It kind of, yeah, it bothers me seeing the extra. I noticed there's either extra letters added or taken away, sort of like the double R Kiera who's out there somewhere. Apparently,
Right.
she's Nazi too. So
Really?
if anybody out there ever bumps into the double R Kiera, apparently she has a bite and she's not very nice. So I must apologize for my other self because apparently she's nasty.
Oh, oh, nice.
Totally not me.
Yeah, I understand completely. I've seen so many different changes so far that it's just insane. I mean, the Statue of Liberty. I've been
Oh yes.
I've been watching the history surrounding the West Coast in World War II. Apparently, the Japanese attacked. Um, but I guess they get confused because it's always someplace else every time a slide happens. Every time we shift, it'll be one place and then it's another place and then it's another place. There were two distinct submarines now and an airplane, and it started out with just one submarine and an airplane. Now there's two. So, uh,
So weird, yeah.
and then of
It's
course
like ultimate.
the technology. I mean, we have to say that the technology is now ridiculous. They started so early with color TV. You know, in my time, color TV was just starting in the 50s. You know, in the
Oh
late
yeah, no, I know. For me, it was too, and I think there's some residue in Back to the Future. I have too many stories. I would be boring people for hours, but just as we come into certain subjects, I might cut you off as I get excited like a little kid with a new toy at Christmas. But for Back to the Future as an example, it's one of my all-time favorite movies,
sure,
and I love the trilogy. Now here's the weird thing: I have seen for the first one 3 different vans,
right,
and I saw like the Toyota one that was kind of like a caramelish gold color, the
right,
white van,
right,
and the Volkswagen one. I've
right.
seen three. I've seen 3 different guitars. I've seen the small one that's right now, at least currently when I last checked. It was like the mustardy yellow one,
Yeah,
a red one, and a black and white one, kind of
so,
similar to the guitar he plays at the dance scene. It's similar to that one.
yeah,
So I've seen 3 guitars, 3 vans, and scenes have changed. In the first one, when the principal uh, stops him, Strickland, and he gets nose to nose now, and he never got nose to nose. They're practically touching noses.
yeah,
That's different for me.
sure it is.
And yeah, and now you can see like a different reference at the beginning where it looks like it's Doc Brown hanging off a clock when they're
Right,
showing all the different
the
clocks at the
picture.
beginning.
Yeah, the
That
pictures.
yeah, that's new for me. That's different. That's brand new actually because I always watch the beginning for change with the guitar, and I always go to the van scene. If
Right,
people have changed around me and act very different and odd, I definitely feel like a huge shift has happened, and
right,
I will start going back to my usuals. I'll quickly check Fruit Loops and see if it's flip flopped. I will check Flintstones. I will check Oscar Mayer and a few others to see if there's been a flip flop. Chuck E. Cheese flip flops for me. The peace sign has flip flopped. I have a really weird story about that. I had these earrings I bought, mood earrings that were all the rage back in the 90s. Don't ask. They're ugly. But, anyways, and I had them in my jewelry box, and my daughter said, "What are these?" And I was like, "Oh, they're mood earrings." And when I picked them up, the peace sign was upside down. This was easily 5 years ago, and I thought, well, why would I have got something with the peace sign upside down? I remember wearing them, and the peace sign was like the way I recalled, right?
right.
And instead, it was like down. So sorry, it was like instead of this, it was like you know what I mean, up. Like it was different. It was opposite of what it is now. And I kept looking at it, and I thought, well, that's pretty odd. And I put them away. And that was before I knew that there was like a Mandela effect around the peace sign.
Right.
And I was hit with so many Mandela effects all at once. And it seems to happen for me January,
Yeah.
and it happens in April. I will have repeats.
Yes.
And
I had
I'm
it.
going to tell you, something that might shock the pants
Go ahead.
off you.
Tell me.
Okay. So this, I swear to God, true story. Okay. So it's hard for me sometimes to talk about it, and other times it's easy for me because I feel like I'm able to kind of put certain things on the shelf emotionally for a while, and sometimes when you bring it out, it can bring out that emotion.
Right.
My client, okay, her son was killed December 18th, 2016. They
Okay.
were having a pre-Christmas type get together, and they were on those snow ATV thingies. It
Right.
flipped, it crushed him, and it crushed him internally, so they couldn't save him, and he died.
Right.
And there was a funeral, and I wasn't able to go to the funeral, and I felt really, really bad. And I still don't know how this is possible. I still have my condolence to her,
Right.
and it was with a poem, and I posted it on her Facebook wall. Anyways, this is where it gets really, really weird for me.
Okay.
That following Easter, 2017,
Hmm.
I had 2 shocking events. My one client, whose husband committed suicide, was going on a trip for a first time to Walt Disney World with her son. It was their way of trying to mend.
Right.
And she went and got excited and she posted on Facebook, "Oh, getting my passports tomorrow. I'm so excited. We're going to be going to Walt Disney World for first time. Can't wait to go to the States. Never been there." And I was like, "Oh, that's great. Excited for you." When they got there, she posted pictures of her son eating the Mickey Mouse ice cream and
Right.
wearing the hats. And they looked like they were happy and they were glowing. And I told my best friend, I said, look, she got to go. Isn't this great? And he's like, "Wow, oh, good for her. She needs that. That's great." Well, here comes April of that year. In April, I see going to Walt Disney World. Can't wait to get the passports.
Whoa.
Excuse me, what? I said to her, "Okay there, time traveler. What are you talking about? You going again?" She didn't respond to me. People that are shared friends, mutual friends, were
Right.
saying, "Oh, you're going to love it. I can't wait to see pictures." I went through her Facebook like a mad woman. I couldn't find the pictures I had seen of her son eating the ice cream. I couldn't find any old posts about Walt Disney World. And then she's like, "We got the passports. We're going."
Hmm.
I was seeing white. I was feeling shocked and very emotionally upset by this. And
Or
then, wait till you hear this. That same week of this event rehappening,
yeah.
my client's son died again.
What?
I'm not kidding. I swear to you, I saw her say, "I'm going to be burying my only son
Oh
this
no.
week." He died again. This is where I get emotional. I'll try not to. He died again that Easter the same way on an ATV accident at her house.
Oh jeez.
And I saw white. I couldn't handle work. I couldn't handle socializing
No.
in any aspect. I sat on the couch feeling so sick, feeling so scared and lost and in shock. I saw absolute white and I was horrified. And I showed my best friend and I said, and I filmed his reaction. And I said, "Can you read this for me?" And he went, "Oh God, no. No, you tell me this is old." And he knows her personally too. I said, "No." I said, he just died again." And he's like, "This is impossible. There's no way this could be happening."
Right.
And I sat down and I was in shock. He was in shock. And he's been my rock through this because he he knows. He's seen this and he saw it personally. And he was able to move on better than I did.
Right.
Because for a while there, about a month, I was having like a lot of emotional breakdowns over it because I told my best friend online,
Yeah.
a person I trust, love, about, "Listen, I've gathered all this information. Looney Tunes is now tunes, like songs, and it wasn't. And I went through JFK and Marilyn Monroe's mole moving and things, Oscar Mayer being mayor, and everything that was shocking to me." And you
Right.
know what he said to me?
Oh.
My best friend, my best friend from BC said, "I don't give a shit. I don't
What?
care." And I said, "You don't care?" I said, this is tearing me apart. There's so much happening. And you're telling me you don't care?" And he says, "I don't have any interest in stupid Mandela effects. It's always been tunes. Who gives a rat's ass, basically." He
Really?
goes, he said, I just wrote because I want to know how you're doing." And I said, "I am trying to tell you I am falling apart because what does this mean? What what does this mean? If I've been seeing this for years and dismissing it as logo changes and just people all of a sudden being jerks,
Yeah.
not necessarily them changing, or celebrities names changing, not being an actual, hey, they changed their name. This isn't like, hey, Prince changed it to a symbol. We're talking about actual, always been this Reba McIntyre, not entire, like Joey McIntyre. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he literally said, "I don't give a shit." And
Wow.
it ended up me losing a really good friend of 4 years. And I ended up losing a friend of 27 years who said I was absolutely insane. She
Really?
didn't have the same she didn't have the same memories,
Wow.
and it was extremely upsetting. And my mom, she came down for my birthday in 2017,
Yeah.
and when I told her all these changes, and are they changes for you? And when she said who cares? What can I do about it anyways?
Oh my gosh.
It just it floored me because I don't understand. I do now better. I do. I kind of haven't gotten in touch with it and understand
The
more so what's going on,
the
so
effect.
I can help. So I've been able to help a lot of other people that are new jumpers, as I call it. You
Yeah.
know, like they're all of a sudden, even people in my group that I've discussed things with are all of a sudden like, Fruit Loops just changed for me. Fruit Loops changed for me in 2013 to the double O, and
Yeah.
it hasn't flip flopped for me yet.
Yeah.
But these people are in my group looking at these same effects, discussing it.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, it's a new change for them. I see that that's a new version of them. I see their names changing. I see sometimes more aggression.
Yeah.
I see a lot of aggression in name changes. It's either they were more aggressive before and they're more passive now, or vice versa. So it
My
would explain why this double R Kiera is a jerk, right? Like, why not?
yeah, my
But
family.
I got to tell you one last shocking
Yeah.
thing, and then
Yeah.
I will let you ask me anything you want.
Okay. Okay.
But while I'm rambling, because it's in my heart and my mind to talk about
Sure.
it, I
Absolutely.
had I had a couple more shocking things happen, and it threw me for a loop. My great aunt Lillian died 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and I got an email and this is what I'm talking about, repeats, last April, so April 2017.
Right.
And in this email, my mom says to me, I don't know if you're able to make it because it's going to be in Newfoundland, but sadly, we lost Aunt Lillian, like her aunt.
Yeah.
And I just stared at the email, and I'm like, the woman, the
That's
woman passed away already for me 10 years ago.
right.
And for my mom, it's new. It's new again. How can someone of relation not remember and be shocked? Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It kind of can. It's kind of a punch to the pineal gland. It's like, what's going on? And then I saw the obit, and this is where my life got thrown again. My mom's maiden name changed,
Oh
and
geez.
that's when I saw the Mac, like McDonald's,
Yeah.
MAC. It's like how it's McDonald's now. It's now
Yeah.
MC Millen. It's McMillan now.
Wow.
So not only is there the family change, it would explain why I'm the black sheep, I guess, right? But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
why do I recall that and my great aunt Lillian passing, and yet and somebody else remembers too. My daughter's father remembers, thank God. But I mean, how can this be? Do you know what I'm saying? If it's not parallel shifting,
Yeah.
then the only other thing that resonates with me, and this is where we seem crazy when we say things like this, or at least when I say things like this, is maybe it is very much like the Matrix. Let's picture it this way. What if we are a simulation
Yeah.
and we are programmed to feel, to see what we're seeing, and it's just so ultra realistic, right? Okay,
Right.
bear with me. This is where I sound crazy. And the Mandela effect, as it's been coined,
Right.
what if we are like a computer that, sorry, my parrot's talking. She's
Yeah.
upset with me.
Yeah.
What if we are like a computer that can't be wiped completely clean of that data? And our memories is that data, that residue.
Right.
So whenever there's a reboot to the parallel, the system, whatever it is that's the sim,
Yeah.
the ones that are not awake are almost like non-playing characters, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't really have, how do I know right now I'm not talking to you, you're talking to me, but outside there, nothing's going on.
Going
You know
on?
what I mean?
No idea.
There's something in front of me, but outside there actually is nothing because I am programmed to just see this. I know it sounds really crazy, but why not? It could be, right?
Yeah, I have found a few things that were extremely strange. I got hurt 2 years ago, January, and I got permanently injured. I'm disabled now. My back, I have a herniated disc in my back now, and so my doctor told me that I'm suffering from bone disease in my back. Ultimately,
Oh,
more and more of my discs are going to herniate, and there's nothing that can be done, basically. So I lived in New York at the time on Long Island, and so I moved to Pennsylvania. And after I moved here, not long after I moved here, I noticed that my family is different. They're acting strange. You know, my daughter, who never had seizures, suddenly has seizures,
oh,
and just out of the blue, just boom, it just happened. You know, and other things happened here. You know that made me aware of these things happening. And in April of 2016, my daughter comes in one day and she's joking around with me, making a triangle over her eye, going, you know, man, the Illuminati confirmed, Illuminati confirmed. And then she mentioned something to me. Now, my mind is that when I get a problem, I will continue forever until I solve it. I can't
that's
stop.
me.
I
I'm
have
the
to
same.
solve the problem. So she tells me about the Mandela effect. And I said, "What's the Mandela effect?" And she explains it to me. And I said, "Oh, really?" And I started from that day, there was about 2.5 weeks. I think I spent like 20 hours a day in front of my computer just watching videos on YouTube,
Mhm.
assimilating everything that I could assimilate. And then I decided, because see, I have investigation in my background. So I began
Yeah, my dad was a private investigator.
so I began to look for fingerprints, you know, clues that show me where this came from. You know, who's doing it? What, you know, is it natural? Is it not natural? Is this being caused by somebody? Is this being caused by the government? Is this being caused by, you know, whatever? And I started looking and I started assimilating things like, what do we have in common, all these people that see this? And I began to see that there are certain things like eye color, there are certain things like a lot of water signs. um, I noticed that we're all empathic. I noticed that we're all maybe 2/3 psychic, and I realized that all of these things we have in common. So therefore, it must have something to do with that. Is the reason we can see things other people can't. You see?
Hmm.
And then I noticed that numbers were connected to it. It was weird. Threes and tens, sevens were connected to a lot of people. A lot of people were connected with these numbers. And you know, and then I noticed that my family had changed. And then I was like, oh gosh, no, because I had heard stories about this. From
Yeah, I know. Oh,
this one lady woke up. She was on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen her. She was making a video in her bathroom that her husband wasn't her husband.
yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and she was scared to death. She was scared out of her mind. But I realized it's not like that. Your family is your family. They're just not the family you had.
Yeah.
They're still, you know, DNA wise, they're your family. You know, so you got to get used to that. And you know, and then I begin to see things appear out of nowhere, like signs in front of Kmart's or Walmart's. They just appear, and it looked like it's been there forever. Or, you know, I'd see some sign disappear, or, you know, somebody would say a building disappeared, or
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
hotels change from a high rise to a small rise, you know, to a 2-story building, you know. And that's when I started really, you know, and I do a lot of investigations and a lot of you know, digging. And I started digging and trying to figure out what's causing this. There's 30,000 uh, particle accelerators worldwide.
Hmm.
So is that part of what's causing it? Or is it after they got they got the Higgs boson field. Is that what they're using to change it? You know, because they really wanted that thing really badly, and when they got it, it seems like now other things are changing.
It
Uh,
makes me wonder too about that too. I don't know though because of seeing it like my whole life and seeing it change so drastically throughout the years, unless that is something that can happen where it, even though it's done now because it's being done now, it affected the past and I'm remembering the past that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
retrocausality. Yeah, retrocausality. Yeah, absolutely. And so, what I wanted to ask you was, have you seen these changes, these buildings, these?
Oh God, yeah.
Uh,
This is a really weird thing. In 1989, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was 89. It was the premiere of Batman Returns. My dad worked for Marvel and DC Comics, so we went to go to the premiere in New York City, and it was really exciting. And it was cold, but it was really exciting, you know. And I remember saying to my father, "Why?" This is stupid, but I was annoyed by it. I was like, why is the Statue of Liberty not on Liberty Island if it's the Statue of Liberty? And my dad had like an explanation for all that, and now I'm really irritated because it's not on Ellis Island anymore, and it's like on a star platform and it looks different.
right,
It, you know what I mean? It was kind of one of those. As much as it bothered me when I was, a teen, now it's like, well, what the heck? Why did you go and change now? It just it shocks me. And then for the World Trade Center
right,
bombing, okay, I know it's conspiracy all around that, so I won't get into that part. But whenever the buildings came down, I saw in the news they said that they built like a looking pond and a little tiny memorial thingy.
right,
And I said to my son, I was like, well, that's kind of cheesy. I think they could have done a little bit nicer considering all the lives lost and everything. And I was a little disappointed in their direction of the memorial, but you know, and it wasn't even like, not even a month later. And on my Mandela group, somebody was talking about the building and all this, and
right,
when it was, built. And I'm like, there was no building. What are you talking about? And I went looking it up, and sure enough, it had been built and done and completed and was there for a bit. And I'm like,
right,
but I just saw they were talking on the news when I was at the grandfather's. I overheard the thing about the pond.
right.
So you know what I mean? It was one of those. It was like,
It changed completely.
yeah, it did. And they went into full discussion about it, and they showed the pit area where there was like nothing left, where it was all gone from the buildings. And so I have seen a lot of strange landscapes and stuff. And when I was in Toronto recently, it had changed again from the way I knew it.
Wow.
And I was just in Toronto filming with I Am Laszlo not too long ago,
Right,
and seeing some things changed. And there's on the subway, there's Lansdowne, and then there's some other stations and stuff.
right,
And one was it changed. Let's just put it that way. It's not the same. It had an extra letter added to it, and I kept staring at it, thinking that's different. That's not right, you
right.
know. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to try to remember that and post it in my group and see if other people from the area remember it, or if I am just the only one that thinks that. I could be wrong on that one. I'm not sure, but to me, it feels like an effect.
right. I there for a while. I was wondering about that extra letter added to people's names. I began to think. Now this is dumb. But I began to think maybe it's to show the people they clone and the people they didn't clone. You know, I thought maybe they cloned people and they added an R, or they added a, whatever letter, because legally they couldn't make it the same name. You know, and I
See,
was
I have discovered something about that. You should check into this, okay? Because you're like me and you like to do investigating, right?
absolutely.
Sorry, my puppy says hello. She's being a bit of a pain here.
That's
Anyways,
okay.
okay, Gracie. Okay, so anyways, this is what I kind of learned. All right, so people around me that had been in accidents, their name suddenly changed on Facebook.
Right.
And I was like, okay, the one girl, she was Lisa with one eye. All of a sudden, there's two eyes. Like, I mean, how could you dismiss two eyes in that name? Like, it didn't even look right to me. It looks so bizarre. I wrote her, and she said, "Oh, it's always been two eyes," and I'm like,
No.
it didn't jive with me. I'm like, no, I've known you now for a while, and there definitely was not two eyes because it stands out like a sore thumb. Anyways, she had been in a car accident, and then um, I looked into celebrities, and anytime I saw a name change, I made a list. So I have a huge list in my group of all the name changes.
Right.
Everything from, like I said, the Reba McEntire, Courtney Cox, the
Right.
Jim Carrey type stuff. We got even Joel Osment, and like just different people, all different walks of life, whether it's religious or not.
Right.
They hence the cloning, right? Like they're not all Illuminati. And
Yeah.
it was like really weird for me. So when I looked into it after Lyle Lovett, because he died in my timeline,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, he survived, blah, blah, blah. And if you look into it, they had a near death experience that they survived.
Right.
And that guy Joe that was in Magic Mike, his last name is weird and hard for me to pronounce, so I won't even try. But his name changed,
Right.
and he was also in that show True Blood. So
Right.
people were like, "Oh, I'm a True Blood fan." His name did change. It's not right. So I did do a vote, and people noticed, and we did find residue thanks to Nathaniel. He does a lot of my residue research in my group, and he found a lot of articles that had the old name and Twitter that had his old last name.
Right.
Anyways, he not too long ago survived a burst appendix, and all
Really?
of a sudden his name changed. So now I'm starting to wonder if when they're goes with my sim theory, if
Yeah.
they're rebooted into the sim, they can't have the same code, so they can't have the same name.
Right. I thought
It's
about that.
kind of a theory I'm going with. The clone thing I had heard before, but whenever it's um, personal name changes, like my mom's name changed, I know she wouldn't have been cloned. Nobody wants two of her, trust me. Um, so she hasn't been cloned, obviously, that I know of, and then personal friends whose names changed, whether it was like I said, the group guy I worked with, his name gained a C, and there was no C for an absolute fact. I even had residue of it because I was holding up a sign joking with his name on it, and I still have that. I don't
Right.
understand how it he would have corrected me. Trust me, he would have been like, "Oh, you forgot the C."
Right.
So I know he didn't have a C in his last name, and
Right.
he all of a sudden got extremely cold and nasty right at the same time of the name change, and I noticed that seems to happen.
Really?
So I
Wow.
feel like I feel like it has a lot to do with frequency because I work with frequency. I always have since I was a kid. Um, I know it sounds crazy, but it's part of my psychic abilities. I'm able to turn street lights on and off, and
Not
lights in my house. I actually fried that light up there
not
to the point
crazy.
where it exploded and it caught fire. And now I need an electrician. I will not even attempt to put a light bulb back up there,
Me
because
too.
I used to practice all the time with it.
Me too. I
You
can
do?
do that. I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm wondering. I did a vote in my group, and I posted video of how I do it, and only like two people said, "Yeah, I can do it," but nobody posted video, and I've been searching for somebody else that can do it because I always feel so alone on that one.
I fried a ATM machine one day too. I put my hands on it. I was mad, and I could feel it going down my arms. Next thing I know, the ATM machine just went. 404 ATM machine not available. And it just blacked.
It's true. It's true. And if we are like 70% water in this realm, right?
Yeah.
And water holds memory and, well, everything's frequency, but I mean that if you think of how frequency can affect water, whenever they freeze it with different music, it will change shape
Right.
different. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So they've proven it holds memory, it holds different things. So, I mean, why can we not be just shifting based on frequency? Because I notice people that go low and they get really, really sad. They tend to all of a sudden, I'll see them gone for a while off Facebook, as an example, media, and then when they come back, their names changed, or their memories are changed, or they're just really personality just totally changed.
Right.
And I got something really weird I want to share with you.
Go ahead,
I don't
please.
know if you've I don't know if you've seen this yet, but as an example in my group, I've had members reposting shocked the same effect. And it
Right.
usually is every couple months. And
Hmm.
this one person kept posting Johnny Quest. Oh my God, Johnny Quest, he no longer has an H. Check it out. And I was like, he posted that before. So I went into search. Sure
Right.
enough, there was residue. He had posted it. Screenshot, let him know you've posted it before. Why is it new to you now? No response, nothing. And then I left it. I left it up, whatever.
Yeah.
And then again, recently, another couple months later, posted Johnny Quest no longer has an H. So shocked. Oh, I am so shocked by this. I
Wow.
was shocked at the fact that this is the third time. And I tagged, I said, do you realize, like, is this indeed new for you? What's your point? What do you mean, what's my point? I like, here's a screenshot. You posted it 3 times now. I'm just kind of concerned, wondering if you recall doing that. Got
Right.
extremely nasty, extremely aggressive, and blocked me.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was asking a legit question because I was trying to figure out
Maybe
if
it
this
was,
is a different version of this person.
could have
Do
been.
they have a memory issue? Like,
Nah, it could have been a different version. You know, sometimes I've noticed recently we were shifting a few times a week, and then it got more, and so literally it could be a new version every day. You know, I mean, at some point, you know, you have to really query them about things that you know for a fact that you two have talked about, and if they say no, then it's got to be something weird happening. Because I've experienced this repeatedly. I've had people block me for no reason. And
oh,
I'm
I know. I
how
know. I don't get it. I was never in a fight with them or anything, and they just up and blocked me. And I'm like, what happened? I had one apologize to me, said they were the wrong one in the situation, that they had heard crap or whatever. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
I forgave them. I let them back on my list in my life. And all of a sudden, I got blocked without warning, without rhyme or reason, no explanation, just.
boom.
And I do see that quite often, to the
Yeah,
point where it used to upset me, and now I just go, oh, shifty shifters. I
yeah,
have to tell you though, I have noticed, and I'm very observant on things. And as an artist too, I do a lot of different things.
right. I
I'm a
noticed
multitasker. What can I say?
watching.
I run an animal rescue. I have noticed differences in animals' personalities. I have noticed differences in eyes. My cat looked up at me, and she's always had big, beautiful yellow eyes, and all of a sudden she had, like what people now have. At least it's new for Minnie. It's new for me. The limbo ring,
Yeah, the ring
and
around.
she had a big black limbo ring, and I was like, Aurora, you never had that before. And my cat looked at me weird. And when I looked at her, she looked at me almost like she was taking me in for the first time while I was taking her in for the first time. And her ears were shorter. She had very distinct, more sphinx like ears. And all of a sudden they were shorter.
Yeah.
And her face looked a little flatter. And I was like, okay, so I've had this cat 11 years.
So
It's not like I haven't looked at her
so
before.
apparently you've
And
had
I
this
was like,
cat
okay.
about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I was like, that's definitely different. And then the other day, my dog that I've had for going on 4 years got in a little tiff with her daughter, and she went, "Ruff!" And I was like, who did that bark? Because she was more of a, "Rrr." Like
Yeah,
she was
great.
so deep. She was so deep that I used to joke about how she had like this. She looked like Gizmo, but she was more like a gremlin when she was mad. Like she has this deep voice to her.
Right.
And my daughter was like, "Was that a toy? What happened?" And I said, "No, that was Shy." She's like, "That wasn't Shy. Does she have a cold?" I'm like, "A cold?" I'm like, because she just all of a sudden has this high pitched, weird bark, and her
Wow.
her personality has changed. And I tested this theory out. There's this thing you would do with her where you'd put her on your lap and
Mhm.
joke with her and say, "Oh, the Lord loves a hanging," and she gets mad. She hates the song. She'll go, "Rrr, rrr." She won't even do it. She just is like this.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a distinct little family thing that we've done with this dog since she was a puppy, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, she doesn't do it anymore. I'm noticing different personality traits in some of my other pets. My bird always sits on top of her cage, and she has little perches throughout the house. She's a free roamer, free flyer,
Right.
and she all of a sudden starts sleeping on top of my daughter's bathroom door flat. And I have video of it flat.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm like, birds lock their legs. So when
Right.
they go to sleep, they don't they don't fall
Oh, yeah.
over or
All over.
something.
Yeah.
And she's laying flat. I was like so concerned. I thought she was dead. I didn't know what happened. And I
Yeah.
walked over and I said, Autumn. And all of a sudden she just sat straight up and looked at me. And I
Wow.
was like, okay, that's different. But now she's doing it all the time. And this bird has distinct traits. She's been here 4 years exactly now.
Right.
And I've never ever seen her lay flat. And now she refuses to go in her cage at night. She sleeps on top of a door.
Wow. So now you had this new bird for about, I don't know, 15 minutes.
I've had her for about a week now. It's been
There you
most
go.
entertaining.
New bird, new cat. Uh,
And she stopped saying pickle. Her word was pickle, pickle. She's a parrot. Like, she doesn't say
yeah,
pickle anymore. I'm like,
no.
I'm very sad. One doesn't sing along and one one doesn't say pickle.
Pretty soon she'll just say your name with two R's. that's
Oh yeah. She better not.
that's the
No.
you'll know who owned her.
Oh goodness. It would be awful. It feels kind of sad. It's interesting to see, but at the same time I feel like you lose people along the way, and
Right.
I worry because my son is completely different memories. He was very sweet, like extremely sweet, and he lives with his fiance, but he's colder now and different different in demeanor and how he talks. And I it's not something that happened gradually. It was literally overnight, and around Christmas it was pretty devastating for me, and
Yeah,
other people noticed it.
imagine, yeah.
It's like it's equivalent to whenever people say, Jesus, somebody on drugs, because that is not the same personality. Well, for
Yeah.
him, he's day and night now.
Well, you know
He
what
used
I
to love
think?
animals. Like, he loved animals, and
Yeah, not
instead he
anymore.
was like he was annoyed, and he was the type that was the first person that when he came over was like looking for the cat and was like, "Oh, where's Kiwi?" Like his nickname for Akita. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got to see Kiwi and all that there." And it's like when Akita passed away, it was like, who cares?
What? Wow.
The whole and it was his cat. Like, I mean, the whole family was devastated,
And
and to him it was almost like, okay, well, got any potato chips? Yeah,
wow.
just totally different, and it's very heartbreaking for me, like very heartbreaking.
I understand. It's. I wonder if these people are coming from a lower vibrational
They are.
universe, and that maybe we're losing the ones that are on our wavelength, and maybe they're coming from some lower, vibrational universe, and that's why they're acting the way they're acting.
I
And
totally believe that. I have a theory that, okay, if, the best way I can explain it to people is if you were to take a mirror. Let's pretend that mirror is our complete soul, okay?
right,
It holds the love, compassion, empathy, let's even say anger, touch of evil. Let's just say,
yeah, yeah,
the little bit of dark side. You take that mirror, you smash it, okay? Some pieces might be bigger. So, for instance, let's just say this version of Kiera is more of an empath, more psychic, more in tune with people's thoughts, feelings,
right.
animals. Whereas the double R Kiera, who hopefully isn't doing an interview with you right now and being nasty in another realm. Anyways, is less empathic and everything. So those little pieces of me are like our soul, and we're all scattered.
Right.
And as we learn and as we grow as a spiritual being, an interdimensional being, if you will,
Mhm.
we reconnect with those little bits, and it makes us a whole person until we reach our higher self, as they call it, right? And let's
Yeah,
just say the higher self is the game player. Why not? Our
yeah,
higher self could be. And I notice with people that have, in my other realities, passed away that are alive now, and the differences in their personalities,
yeah,
they tend to be more empathic, the ones that have survived car crashes and comas and things like that. They usually are. what if that is like, okay, you get in a car crash, in one reality, you passed away,
Right.
and it's almost like a restart, a player save point, if you will, in a video game,
Right.
and you reconnect and you jump into that other parallel self,
Right.
avatar, our
Right.
consciousness, because it's like this, we wouldn't notice. I could
No.
be doing it a million times while I'm talking to you, but
Right.
because I'm talking to a parallel version of you that's so close, we're still talking. Do you know what I'm saying? And we're still
Yeah.
having this exact conversation and memories with
Right.
only maybe slight differences in a different reality. So
Right.
if it's like that, and I've been in car accidents. I've been struck by a car on my bike. I've nearly drowned a couple times when I was a
Me too.
kid.
Me too.
Um, yeah, I was. I've had quite the life. I was stabbed. um,
Mm.
you name it. I had the worst tonsils ever. That they
Me too.
actually, when I was 6, when they took them out, they actually said they needed permission from my parents to put them into some kind of scientific thing because
I would
like
say
they
you're
were the worst they had ever seen, and I nearly died from the operation,
yeah.
and it took a long recovery. So I probably died in a different one, and
Right.
I just kept picking up those little pieces of soul as I went because my powers. I sound like a fool. My powers. Woo! Watch out.
Yeah.
My my it's hard to explain, but people that I know very well will be sitting beside me and they will want to ask me a question as an example, and they haven't said it out loud, and I answer them.
Yes.
And I drive my daughter's father nuts with it because he'll be like talking to me about something that he needs to know. And before he asks the actual question, I'll answer him. And it could be
Answer it.
anything. It could be anything, something extremely random, the name of an artist that sang a song, anything. And I answer him, and he's always like, I didn't say that out loud yet. So I notice the past few years has gotten really strong where I connect extremely well to that vibration, that frequency,
Right.
where I feel like I can actually hear them talking out loud in their
Right.
voice,
Me too.
but they're not. So I don't know exactly what's going on if it's just
If I'm not
I'm
looking,
picking.
if I'm not looking, I just think they asked me a question, and
Yeah, yeah, I hear it. I hear it as
so
clear
mad.
as day.
My daughter gets so mad at me because I will answer her if I'm not looking directly at her. I'll just answer a question. She'll go, "I didn't ask the question, Dad."
Exactly. Okay, that's exactly what I'm going through, and I drive people. He says it's neat because he goes, I don't have to waste any breath. They'll just answer me.
Yeah.
But I know I drive my daughter nuts with it because she deals with so much at school and bullying, and I always tell her, I always say, either you're going to tell me or I'm going to just take it out of your head, right?
Right.
And sometimes she won't say anything, and I'm like, and what did such and such do? And then she's like, okay, fine, because you're going to get it out of my head anyways, and it's kind of it's a little bit a torturous gift, and if you're experiencing, you know what I mean.
Of course.
It's hurtful at times because I work around a lot of public, and I have heard people say really negative things about me, like hurtful things about whether it's my looks or whatever, insulting, or they think I think I'm hot crap when I'm so not that person.
Yeah.
And it I find it extremely upsetting, and I pick it up off them, and it'll start to give me a bit of a almost like a panic attack.
Right.
And I used to be able to handle the public very well, and being on stage and that very well, and as soon as I pick up those negative thoughts off them and I can hear it clear as we're talking to each other,
Right.
I literally I get like a block. I call it a mind block where it upsets me just enough where it shuts me down from my what I was about to do.
Right.
And I find that sometimes in public I start to feel a little panicky.
Yep.
And I was just at a concert and people were bad mouthing nearby, and I was picking it up. And
Wow.
when I started picking it up, it started to make my knees feel a little like shaky, almost like blood sugar went down.
Right.
So I'm finding this reality, as I will call it, harder to handle publicly. I'm finding it's making my job harder than it used to be because I'm
Yeah.
feeding off those energies and I don't like it.
I understand completely. I My problem has been that not only can I pick up things from people and I get the same exact reaction, but unlike you, I never became a public person. I mean, I worked in the public, but ultimately, when I wasn't working, I was locked away. Because I couldn't take being around people. I'd go into a mall and just it sounded like a million people talking to me at the same time.
It does. I cannot be out at Christmas or anything. I was out this year on Black Friday in Toronto, and actually, sorry, that was technically last year. And it literally, I started feeling extremely sick and wobbly kneed.
Yes.
It was really affecting me terribly.
Exactly the reaction I get, and I have to run away, otherwise I get a migraine.
Oh,
Um,
oh, me too. I'm always like, was my ponytail too tight? Because I get like right in here. It's
yeah.
so crushing
Oh yeah.
that I literally feel sick.
Exactly the same thing. And the other thing I noticed about me, which happened a while back, was if I get exceedingly angry and I point this anger at somebody, like for instance, I got mad at my wife one time and she wouldn't tell me where she was going, and she went got in the car, drove up the block. I was mad. All of a sudden, her front tire exploded.
Yeah, it will happen. It's frequency. You're right. Like even with the ATM, I
Hmm.
have gone through too many phones, especially if I get angry. I glitch out phones. Do you know what I mean? Where all of a sudden it looks like it's like pixelating and going funny.
Right.
And I lose phones a lot because I've lost tablets because of it.
Yeah.
Uh, TV screens of my plasma screen because I was angry one day and I went near it and I leaned on it to pick something up that fell, and it still has my handprint. I could
Right on.
send you a picture. It has like a gray handprint, and I didn't hit it or anything. It's just like
Touched.
I sound crazy, but it's like my touch melted it or something because it doesn't. It's got a weird gray kind of hue that
Absolutely.
never went away.
People got mad at me because they used to buy me watches, and I would burn out every watch I got. I
I
couldn't.
can't wear one. I
Nope. Me.
always joke that I'm always late because I can't wear watches. I do that too. I go through batteries, watches, any electronic device,
Yeah.
CD players, nothing lasts around me. It's like I don't know if I'm just tearing up the energies or using it for myself. I don't know, but I kill them. They're
I don't
gone.
mean to. Usually, this happens when I get angry. I was exceedingly angry one day, and I went to a bookstore. And I'm walking down an aisle of the bookstore. The books behind me are flying off the shelf, and I didn't see it. I just hear it, boom, boom, boom. I think
Yeah.
somebody dropped books. I turn around and look, and there's books all over the floor. And I realized, I must be, causing this, and I quickly left because I was scared they're going to get mad at me.
Yeah.
So they thought I threw all the books on the floor. But yeah, this happened to me on occasion. But yeah, it's never um, a conscious reaction. It seems to be a subconscious reaction. The only thing I can consciously do is the light, the traffic light changing and those things.
Oh,
But
this is this. I haven't tried it with traffic lights. That's interesting. I don't think I should because what if I mess them up? But no, I posted it on my the Mandela Effects YouTube. Some of the frequency work I do with
right,
lights and how I tune into the actual frequency, the hum,
right.
because all lights emit a hum. Oh, there's my cat. There's a cat with the weird eyes and ears. Anyway, anyways, and it's like as soon as I go in tune with it, I can make them flicker, go on, go off.
Yeah,
And when I was about 10 years old, um, it sounds crazy. I'm glad I'm talking to you about it, but you talk to the average public person and they would be like, "Okay, crazy lady, get
sure.
back on your meds."
Yeah,
But
right,
when I was 10, I used to have to take turns with my brother and go down and get dishes
right,
for any major meals or whatever. And I
right.
went down to get the dishes. My hands were completely full, and I did my frequency and shut the light off.
Oh,
And unfortunately, my dad was in the opposite room, his office, and he witnessed me doing it.
yeah,
And he got scared of me. Got scared of me because I was already seeing spirits. I saw my grandmother and gave a message right after she committed suicide, and then there was a phone call saying she committed suicide.
Yeah.
So my dad was already freaked out by his weirdo daughter, and when he saw that, it broke our relationship, and he called me awful names and didn't want really anything to do with me
Really?
for quite
Wow.
some. Yeah, he was scared of me. He said I told my mom that he thought I was a witch, that
Oh,
I may be possessed
yeah.
by the devil. Something was wrong with me, and yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, that's
So
always fun.
I didn't do frequency in the house anymore.
Yeah, no, my thing is though, the traffic lights are a binary. Um, they're a 0 or a 1. So if you know how to reach into the box with your mind, you can decide whether it's a 0 or a 1.
Mhm.
And if you do, it'll actually change the light. The other way I did it was I realized that the light wasn't red. It wasn't any color. It just wasn't because it doesn't exist. And at that point, the light would change
That's
automatically.
so true. Oh yeah.
You know,
And you know what? A lot of people think that's kind of devil work, but I've been practicing with manifestation and stuff, and it does work. It really does. I mean, if I can do it for others, I can do it for myself. It's not like I'm going to manifest like lotto numbers or something,
yeah, yeah,
but it seems to work whenever other people are down. And as an empath, I get really sick if I help too many people because I think it's almost like I absorb all that negativity and all that hurt and
yeah.
everything, and it does. It can make me physically ill,
Oh yeah, me too.
and it's awful. Like I mean, it's almost like a stomach flu.
Sure.
It's really bad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I've
and
had the exact
I
same thing.
find that if you go deep down and you visualize and picture what it is that's needed, like it actually has happened and is going to happen, it does.
Yeah,
And one of my friends, they lost their job and they were going to be kicked out of their apartment like the next day, and she was
right.
terrified and scared. So I, you know, did
Yeah,
my thing. And
yeah.
sure enough, the next day it was, oh my God, he got offered a job, and the landlord said that's okay until the first pay. And oh, we're going to be okay. This is great. And it's like, there's
Nice.
coincidence. And then there's when I keep doing this for people and it keeps working.
Right.
So I don't really feel it's coincidence anymore. It can't be.
Well, the question is, if we're shifting, then we're reacting to certain um, frequencies, then we should be able to affect these frequencies. And the other
Yeah.
thing is, if this is a simulation, then we're just part of the simulation. And if that's a fact, then we should be able to just easily reach out and change any pixel in the frequency in the simulation because we're part of it. Everything.
Yeah, I always joke and say maybe we are the Skynet, we are the AI, you know?
Yeah, maybe
It
we
could
are.
very well be.
Yeah,
We're
maybe.
the awake ones, so
Yeah,
why not?
maybe we're the AI. You don't know.
Yeah,
That was
exactly. Yeah.
another one of my ideas. I thought about. I think about this stuff all the time. Um,
Yeah, I know. I find I don't need sleep really anymore.
oh,
It's really weird. It's like I've never been a sleeper, but it's like I work 12-hour days and stuff, and I'm always go, go, go. And it's like, even if I wake up and I'm a little bit tired from, say, like, I don't know, 4 hours sleep or whatever it was,
right.
it's like not even an hour in and I'm fine. I just visualize being
Sure,
okay. You
sure.
know, it's really weird. And then I'm fine. And I've never drank coffee. I'm not one of those people. I don't drink. I don't smoke.
Oh,
I've never done drugs. I've never been drunk in my life.
yeah,
And it's like I'm just a water person, and I don't know if that helps. I feel like it could, because
yeah.
anybody that's not awake tends to be like the partiers and the ones that, you know what I'm saying, right?
I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't. I don't even drink coffee and nothing. So
I
yeah,
never even tried it, but I don't like the smell anyway, so I don't think I'm missing anything.
yeah. I think you're probably right. You know about the other thing. People are caught up in things. You know the things
They're
of.
caught up in the next best gadget, the latest movie. It's like I don't watch TV, I don't go out to the movies, I don't do any of that. I'm pretty much I spend time with my animals and my daughter, and that's about, and I work a lot. So
Yeah.
it's like just even those interactions, it's like I'm helping people, I'm helping heal people.
Right.
uh, I do a lot of readings for people. I help find missing people. Unfortunately, a lot of times where I visualize and see them, it's more like helping in a recovery of the
Right.
body, but
Right.
and that drains me too terribly.
Yeah. Of
There was
course.
one recently of a little boy that had been missing since 2016, and I was like one of their last ditch efforts. They asked if I saw anything or could help.
Yeah.
And it was really sad. I saw the mom kill the boy,
Oh wow.
and I saw where his body would be found. And they're in
Okay.
the States, I'm in Canada, so it's not like I'm connected in any way.
Right.
And I told her all the information and gave her a map of where I visualized his body would be found.
Right.
And sure enough, not only was he found, but I got contacted by the police because they wanted to know how I knew so much. I
Ah.
mean,
Okay.
and yeah, they've worked with psychics before, but I'm an unknown and I don't get paid. I just literally do it out of the good of my heart, I guess you could say, because I like helping people. And I
Right.
feel that if you have a gift, it's a gift
Be
to
used.
give to others.
Right.
I'm not the type of person that says, "Oh, you want to know your future? Here, give me $10." It's ridiculous. I can't even imagine charging somebody for such stupidity. It's not right. And I
No.
also feel that people that want to know their future is what path they decide. It's not, you know what I'm saying, right?
Right. I understand completely.
Yeah, so I find this reality has been extremely hard on me. I
Yeah.
think it's the hardest one I've hit so far.
Yeah.
People are extremely cold. There's a lot of cruelty towards a lot more with animals and children than I've ever seen in my life. Frequencies are so low that there's going to be a lot more earthquakes and natural disasters. And I feel like it's almost like prophecy. It could
Yeah.
be, why not? And with all these things changing and happening so quickly around us, and so much negativity, and people not caring and only posting, hey, my latest iPhone or whatever it is they bought, you know what I mean?
Right.
The
Right.
latest Gucci shoes. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? Huh? You gonna take that with you when you go? Like, doesn't matter.
Those are just things. Things are nothing. They're just
I think
material.
people need to tune into the frequency of love and compassion and the empathy aspect of it,
Yeah.
and we stay on a better frequency that way.
Right.
And I do feel, I wish it could happen. I'd love it to manifest that people stopped staring into the phone and ignoring their children or their family, their friends,
Yeah.
life going by. And, like the Orwell thing, people not looking up from their screens to see what's going on. We got chemtrails. There was never chemtrails in my reality. That's new for me.
Yeah.
Um, skies were definitely different.
Oh, the skies
People were
were different.
Skies were different. People were different. Life was different. And I feel there's a reason people like you and I and others are here.
Oh
And I
yeah.
do feel it's to help raise the vibration and hopefully awaken more, and maybe we will be able to shift to a better reality, whatever it is, of love, and it won't hurt so much anymore, because it really hurts here.
I
It's really
understand.
hard.
Well, I'll see you on the other side.
I hope so.
Meet up again. I want to ask you a couple more questions and I'll let you go. I know it's been a long conversation, but there's so much here that you had to share with us. The one thing I want to ask you is what do you have um, to say to people who are just finding out about the Mandela effect? If you could give them some advice.
um, if you can join groups, you could join like my group. I don't allow trolls, and by trolls I mean people that will discredit you right away and make you feel beneath them and dumb for thinking, hey, it was Fruit Loops, not Fruit Loops, or whatever it is. Personal Mandela effects are welcome, because I started the group because I was so lost. When I realized the things I had been seeing for all those years wasn't for a fact, was not just my imagination or mismemory or just people changing around me. You know what I'm saying? It shocked me, and I know people that are just waking up now and seeing change could be seeing what I did, seeing someone they know passed away walking. It's shocking. It can floor you. You're not alone. There's so many people that are dealing with it, and there are communities of us awaken
Right.
that that welcome that type of comfort and hearing what you have to say. And don't feel crazy, because you're not crazy. Your reality is just different from theirs. That's all it is. It really is. I think we vibrate on different levels. We manifest things, sure. If
Yeah.
you're walking into a room and everyone is miserable and you were so happy and excited to be there, and you walk in and everyone's just like, oh, I hate it here. Oh, when's this over?
Yeah.
Miserable, miserable. It affects you. And that is very much what's going on right now, is people are lowering their frequencies
Right.
to the level of who gives a crap. We
Right.
need to give a crap. So if you're just waking up, no others do care. Others are like you, they're shocked. Don't just dismiss it right away. If you have a memory that you are so certain of, research it, ask others, compare, and don't feel you're alone, because you really aren't. There's so many out there that are dealing with the same thing.
Right. Right. And just one more thing, if you could go ahead and give the name of your group and how they can get to it.
Okay. Love talking with you. It's been an honor.
Sure.
It's Mandela Effect Researchers. There's the Mandela with the effect Mandela Effect Researchers on YouTube. I'll give the link, and maybe you can link it up
Sure.
to
Absolutely.
description so they can have it.
Okay.
And it's Mandela Effect Researchers on Facebook. And you just gotta tell us a few of your biggest effects, and you're in the group. And if you don't have effects yet, but you're really interested, you can say you're really interested, and some things that you're unsure of,
Right.
and join the little family of
Right.
reality shifters.
Thank you very much, Kiera. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you took time to share this with us. I hope that maybe we can help a few people um, not suffer the things that we've had to suffer. You
I'd love to. It's always a pleasure. I'd love to help people.
know. Thank you, and
Thank you.
thanks everybody for tuning in and watching this. And have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.